Hey, how's it going, guys? It's Daniel from the King Realty Group. Hope you're having a great day, and thank you so much for joining us today on our episode. We're actually talking about December 2019 and how it compared to 2018, and we're in 2020 now, so Happy New Year to all of you, and hopefully you've had a good January so far. We're going to actually review last year's numbers as well, the overview of 2019, what happened, and what are the emerging trends, what are we looking for 2020. Stick around. Hey guys, thanks again for joining us. Let's take a look at these numbers real quick, just like we do quickly, and we're going to look at a 2019 overview and then what we're thinking what's going to happen in 2020. First and foremost, though, let's take a look at the numbers. We're going to put up somewhere over here. GTA average price point 2019, guys, was $837,788. That's up 11.9%. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. It's actually a pretty big increase. Detached homes are up 1,052,081. That's up 11.6%, which is really, really interesting. Semi-detaches were up at 805,144. That's up 6.5%. Townhouses 672,709. That's up 7.8%. We have condo apartments that are actually up 464, and that's up 10.4%. What's interesting about these numbers, guys, is that December, look at detached homes. There actually were a higher increase in price from 2018, and that's actually higher than condos. This is very interesting because over the last year, 2019, most months were driven by condo price increases, but we're now seeing that shift back to detached or low-rise homes. And again, that 612 to 672, that condo to townhouse price is definitely getting closer and closer. That's interesting to see what's happening in the new year. Overall, though, the 12% increase in price year over year is actually the biggest we've had in the last 2.5 years. We'll talk a little bit about that coming up. Let's take a look at sales, guys. It's 4,399. It's up 17.4% from December 2018. That kind of makes sense. Last year we had a decade low in sales for the whole entire year, and this year we're back to an average level. 88,000 homes sold actually in 2019. And we'll take a look at how that compared to previous years. Months of inventory is something we look at just to judge whether we're in a buyer market, balanced market, or seller market. If you're at 35% or lower sales to average listing ratio, that's actually a buyer market. Balance is more 35 to 50, and if you're above 50% sales to active listing ratio, then that means that you're in a seller market. Many of our regions are in seller markets right now. Toronto, if you can take a look, it's at 1.4 months of inventory or 71 sales to active listing. Definitely tilted into the seller side, guys. Having said that, not all properties sell. That is a misconception. If you do the right thing and you're in the right neighborhood, though, you should do well in Toronto. Same goes for Durham at 1.69% or 59 sales to active listing ratio. And leading the pack is actually Peel region, so Brampton, Mississauga at 1.21 months of inventory. Things are flying off the shelves over there, and it's 82% sales to active listing ratio. York region is actually very surprising. It's at 2.55 months of inventory or 39 sales to active listing ratio. Technically, we're in a balanced market there, which is interesting because of all 2019, we've been technically in a buyer side, so there's a bit of recovery going on in the York region right now. Overall, though, if you average out all these numbers, in the GTA, we're at 1.71 months of inventory, and if we compare that to the decade, we're actually down from an average of 2.2, meaning that the whole entire decade, out of the whole entire decade, 2019 is kind of more favored to the seller side based on the numbers we're seeing here. Again, it doesn't apply to every neighborhood. Now, having said that, guys, let's take a look at a review of 2019, kind of what happened and what we're thinking was going to happen in 2020. One of the things that stuck out for sure is that we're up 12% from 2018 in sales in December. It's actually a biggest lift since 2017. It's 2.5 years the last time we saw an increase of that amount in a year, which is awesome. 88,000 sales, just under 88,000 sales for the whole 2019 in the Toronto Real Estate Board. That's closer to an average number, definitely higher than 78,000, which was last year, and that's also nice to see as well. Buyers got off the sidelines in 2019 in the second half. We saw a lot more demand and a lot more sales happening in the second half of 2018, which was really surprising. And that actually contrasted the supply, which is actually declined. So we had a lot of demand, low supply. This is pushing prices up, and that's kind of the trend we're seeing into 2020. And if nothing else changes, likely we're going to have price increases continue. Other thing we saw as well is that months of inventory dropped 1.7%. I said earlier that that's actually lower than the decade average of 2.2, which is interesting. And if nothing else changes, that's going to continue because fundamentals are telling us the same thing. We have a growing economy. In 2019, we saw record growth in population. A lot of us were looking at the GPA as well. And we had a decline in fixed term interest rates, which is interesting because that's going to help buyers actually get into the market. It's funny because last year we actually thought they were going to go up. They actually came down, and we're predicting even further decreases in 2020. So we're going to see if that happens. Majority of home sales in 2019 were basically from 400 to 900,000, under the $1 million mark. And if you're in that price range, likely you are, majority of people are, it's tough to get what you're looking for in the marketplace right now. But hopefully you have somebody good on your side that's helping you get your offer accepted throughout the pack. Another thing that was interesting is that detached homes are now kind of on the rise. Starting at the beginning of the year, we had flat growth, but we're seeing that a little bit of an upswing towards the end of the year. We see that's going to continue in 2020. At the end of the day, guys, when we look to our year-to-date figures and we compare to 2018, our prices actually rose about 4%. That's under the average of the decade of 7.7%. We're used to seeing average price increases year over year in the 5 to 7%. But even though our fundamentals say that we support an over 5% growth, let's see if that happens into the next year. At the end of the day, we went up 4% in 2019, but that's actually a recovery statement, because in 2018 we went down 4.2%. So we're almost at recovery in most markets, yet we're still down from the average of 7.7 in the whole entire decade. We're in 2020s now, guys, so thanks for joining me these past 12 months. Hopefully this is giving you great information. If you want to get more information of what's going on in your neighborhood, this doesn't really help. It's more broad numbers, but get in touch and we'll let you know what's going on in your neighborhood. Thanks again, guys. Take care. Talk to you soon.